Ladies and gentlemen, welcome here. This is both the ESPX crew and NBC News here for this pregame show. I am Joe Reichert alongside Kevin Jackson and Tristan Nato. Kind of ironic to see both Marist and Pius getting together on something. But guys, how you doing? How you doing, Kevin, tonight?
I'm doing great. Like you said, very unique opportunity here to come together. Marist and Pius, historical rivals, but glad we could come together on the broadcasting front tonight.
Yeah, and Tristan, we come from St. Pius, kind of similar settings, but how you doing tonight?
Yeah, not a long drive over here, and really love everybody out here at Marist. This is our true rivals, not quite like that Woodward or BT rivalry, so we'll just love being out here. Just always a great time.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we are covering this game. It is the renewed rivalry indeed. 5 years since these teams have played, and this game could not have more of a significant impact. Both Marist is undefeated on the season. Pius come in 3 straight regions, so both are undefeated on the season in region play. So then, in this sense, this game is for the region championship, and we go ahead and go recap the games of the season. So, Kevin, what can you tell us about Marist so far this season?
Well, Marist off to a very strong start, obviously undefeated in the region, and they started off the season with 2 strong non-region wins, first against Godby out of Tallahassee, Florida, great win there, and then against Lovett, not a very strong team, but still a good non-region win, and then proceeded to pretty much dominate their region schedule after that. 4 straight wins, none of them very close, and really you can say that Marist is just off to a dominant start this year. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond to this atmosphere here tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely the home crowd playing a lot, expecting anywhere near 10,000 people, I believe, were the numbers. But Tristan, after St. Pius dropped those first 2 games, they have definitely rebounded successfully.
Yeah, St. Pius, first 2 games, just like Marist, played out of region and out of classification. And one of them opened the season with Blessed Trinity at home, dropped that game. Then went to Woodward the following week, lost that one as well. But they've rebounded with 3 straight wins, pretty solid region victories against Lithonia, Grady, and Columbia last week. One on homecoming, I think a little bit more of a margin of defeat than a lot of people were expecting. So they are coming into this game on a roll. So I think it'll be a great matchup tonight.
And you mentioned Blessed Trinity, Tristan, and Marist actually played them earlier in the season in a scrimmage, and not reflected on the Marist record, but Blessed Trinity played Marist very closely in that game. So definitely not a bad loss for Pius in any sense.
Yeah, definitely those 2 teams, as you said, coming in really strong, so which makes much more of a fierce matchup. Both teams, were voted, both of the students from the schools voted this the 11 Alive Game of the Week. So we are going to go ahead and talk about this game now. So first is the Pius offense, which has been steadily gaining ground and gaining yards over the course of the year. They started out slow, but they have definitely found their groove. So Tristan, how is the Pius offense looking?
They are looking very good coming into this one. Started off the season not too great, but after the injury to Klinger, I think second week, the game against Woodward, they switched Connors from quarterback to tailback and gave junior Reed Egan the starting job. So since then, they have really picked it up on offense, and with an injury to Lawson Cooper, Dalton Wilson has taken over that starting fullback position once again, and he is just absolutely gaining yardage and scoring touchdowns week in and week out. Last week, 225 yards in the homecoming game against Columbia. I think he had 2 or 3 touchdowns. And on the season, hasn't really played that much once Cooper took over the starting job at fullback. But almost 400 yards on the ground this year. I think somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 or 6 touchdowns. So look for Klinger is back to be healthy. You got Connors in the backfield, most importantly Wilson. And then if they need to, Egan can drop back and absolutely sling it.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Tristan, Dalton Wilson, for the official stats, he's got 60 attempts for 365 yards, 6 touchdowns on the season, and 6.1 yards per carry. So on that note, we actually sat down with Dalton Wilson and got his views on the game. Welcome here. Now we got Dalton Wilson. And Dalton, first, congratulations, most athletic for superlatives. Congratulations. I definitely think you needed that athleticism, as you got the ball 34 times last week. How are you able to muster up the energy to play both fullback and the linebacker position full time?
The conditioning program here, Coach Massey's been working with us since about midway through last year. Basically been working on us in the off season, and until you've done a Massey workout, you haven't really worked out.
Definitely.
Yeah, he knows how to run us. He's got us in peak condition.
Yeah, so definitely good indeed, getting all that time on there and helping the team out. So how has the transition been to stepping into that fullback position full time?
It's been weird because I started out playing linebacker as a sophomore, but I had always taken reps at fullback, and just playing in the game is so much different than in practice. But it's if nothing, definitely something I can handle. It's just basically be a battering ram and don't get brought down to first.
Definitely, indeed. The last question we want to ask you is, as a senior captain, running both sides of the ball, what's your message to the team for Friday night's game?
Don't let the game be bigger than it is. Don't play bigger than yourself, and play with that chip on our shoulder that we played with the last game. We kind of had this attitude about us that no one was going to stop us, and if they tried, we were going to go right through them. And if we keep that attitude up and keep our motivation, then Marist doesn't stand a chance.
All right, well, thanks a lot, Dalton. Definitely a good message indeed. Great senior captain. Good luck to you Friday. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Dalton Wilson showing a little pizzazz there at the end, as his character does indeed show, and he was voted most athletic boy indeed. But Dalton Wilson is going to have to match up and see if he can outcompete with the Marist offense. And Kevin, that Marist offense has been really explosive throughout the whole year.
Exactly, and one of the most dangerous things about them is that you don't know who to stop. There's so many weapons on the Marist team. So with that being said, those main players for the Marist offense are Ian Gibson, Sam Feltz, and Griffin King. Ian Gibson, the fullback, is the leading rusher for the team, but Griffin King is just coming back from an injury for the first time. This is the first game he'll be able to play the full game and be really healthy for the entire time. So Pius is definitely going to have to watch out for him on defense. And then Sam Feltz, averaging about 40 yards on the ground a game, but also very skilled at passing. So he's definitely a dual-threat quarterback. And then just overall the style of offense that Marist runs, the triple option, very hard to defend when you have so many talented runners. And our own Laura Faenza from NBC actually caught up with Ian Gibson earlier this week.
And thank you very much. That was Ian Gibson indeed, and he is going to be matched up against a very talented defensive front. Maybe the secondary, not so much. But Tristan, what can you tell us about the St. Pius defense?
Yeah, like you said, secondary has really been a struggle here for the Golden Lions this season. They've been pretty solid against the run. They've played against some really athletic teams so far this season in Lithonia, Grady, and Columbia. They've matched up fairly well against them, stopped them on the ground, but in the air, if they get a mismatch in the secondary, that can just spell trouble for the Golden Lions. But I think, you got Whitlark, Wilson, and O'Reilly at the linebacker core. All seniors have been really solid there in stopping the run. You got some big guys up front with London Lewis, Eric Long, Andrew Jacon. So in the box, St. Pius is big, and they are ready to stop the run. But in the air, you got Holloman, who is one of our best defensive backs, just a sophomore, and they will put him against the best receivers that Marist throws at us. But Nick Spear's been burned a couple times over the middle so far this year. Brennan Fitzpatrick has made a couple mistakes, and with only 3 interceptions on the season, it's going to be a tough battle for the St. Pius defense tonight.
It'll definitely be tough to see how well they can match up against the mix that Marist will throw at them with run and pass. Definitely have to guard against the Marist run, but as you say, that could open some holes in the secondary.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple weeks, and if Marist can just successfully and they don't even need to repeatedly pass, if they can just work in one pass play, catch Pius off guard, like I said, it can spell trouble for this Golden Lion team.
Yeah, guys, that's what's so effective about the triple option. You got maybe 3 options. You go fullback, quarterback, or pitch, but then when you throw in that pass in there, as Marist does so well, it just becomes so deadly. So we actually, Tristan, I know you mentioned Forrest Whitlark earlier in the week. We actually sat down yesterday with him, and we're going to go to Forrest Whitlock's views on the game this week. So, Forrest, don't want to start off, just congratulations on winning Mr. St. Pius, although I know you'd probably take a win over Marist any day over Mr. St. Pius. So, first question is, when you stepped out onto the field as a freshman, did you ever in your wildest dreams think that in 4 years you'd be a senior captain, getting to start in one of the most fiercest rivalries in the state of Georgia?
It was always a dream. Playing in middle school, I know most of the guys on that team, so it's always been kind of like a deep-seated rivalry. And so I got to play in middle school as like a freshman and on JV some as a sophomore, but because they kind of discontinued the game, I just sort of put it out of my mind that I was going to be able to play on the varsity level. And then when we found out about the region switch up and all that, and like moving up to 4A,
yeah, definitely.
It's awesome. And every day I was like hoping, captain, whatever, but I'm just ready, and I know the whole team's ready, so it's exciting.
Yeah, so you mentioned that, anticipation. Does the team have extra height maybe for this game on Friday?
Yeah, there's definitely, just because it's such an intense rivalry, there's definitely going to be some added intensity. But I think we're all week we've been preparing just like every other game. If anything, I think that extra intensity is going to be beneficial. I don't think we're going to let it get to our heads. But it's gonna be just like it's gonna be a dogfight. I think we're ready for it.
Yeah, definitely. So as that playing that linebacker position, if you could give us one key to the game to stop Marist's offense, what would it be?
We got to do our position. We got to follow our assignments really. Playing an option team, we're an option team. We're all familiar with it. So if each man on the defense does what he's supposed to do, and he does his job, we'll stop him. Defense. Football is a team sport. Defense, we got to have every single man, every 11 guys. We just got to be doing our job. So.
All right, well, spoken like a true veteran indeed, Forrest, and best of luck to you Friday.
Yeah, thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was indeed Forrest Whitlock. A very much congratulations to him for winning Mr. St. Pius' superlatives announced for the senior class yesterday. But Forrest has got to match up with that Marist defense, see which one can outdo each other. Forrest is leading the team with 24.5 tackles, 2 fumble recoveries. But Kevin, I would assume that Marist has some pretty talented players of their own.
That's right. And you talk about 4 units in a game. Both teams, the 2 offenses and the 2 defenses. And out of all those, the one that I feel is going to be the most dominant in this game is the Marist defense, only allowing 4.5 points per game, only 27 all season. Obviously, just really an astounding performance. And so the key to this defense is the front 4. Kenneth Brinson, Kevin Coughlin, Ian Wernz, and Jack Traynor, the front 4 on the defensive line, just making the run so tough. Especially this Pius team is just really going to have a tough time running against them. And the secondary for Marist, obviously not quite as strong. A few younger players, and as the front 4 is all seniors. So definitely some younger players in the secondary. But the front 4 is really going to help out that secondary by taking away a lot of the run opportunities.
Yeah, I know that up front, Marist is a big team. Coach Standard earlier this week was quoted as saying that this is the biggest, as far as size goes, Marist team he has had to basically prepare for in his career at St. Pius. So he is not lying when he says there are some big guys up front. And, they know this triple option very well, running against it day in, day out in practice. Yes. So Marist defense is looking very good this year.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. You mentioned both teams run the option. So logically speaking, both teams should have a great idea of what the other one is going to do. But ladies and gentlemen, that is your previous, you guys mentioned your offenses and defenses according to us, but why don't we go ahead and hear it from the men themselves, the 2 head coaches, as we are going to now go to Coach Standard first.
We are mirror images of each other offensively in a lot of ways. Obviously, the key to trying to slow down, I don't know if you ever stop a team totally like Marist, but to slow them down, you got to play assignment football. I know that's cliche, but that's exactly how they operate. Is they take advantage of your mistakes. We've gotten film from them we've been playing them since 2001. They're doing almost the exact same things then. They have a system and they do a great job at it. So you got to play assignment football. You got to have a guy on the fullback, guy on the quarterback, guy on the pitch. And on the backside, you got to be ready for their counter plays. They don't do a lot of them, but when they do, they usually have you exposed because you're not in place where you're supposed to be, and they end up with a really big play there. The other thing, too, is in the secondary, you got to do a great job of being ready for play action pass. So those are the keys as trying to slow them down, is making sure you play your assignment and not do somebody else's assignment. So that's the things we've been working on. We got to try to keep the football. That's always been our game plan each week is ball control. You keep the football and keep our defense fresh. Eat up the clock, and obviously score points with your possessions. But time of possession is really key here. We can't have a lot of 3 and outs, and keep their offense on the field and keep our defense on the field. So those are the keys, and we're going to mix it up some. We got to be able to throw the play action pass and to get the ball to some of our other running backs.
Yeah, definitely. So there is Coach Chadwick. You can see both views of both coaches of how they're going to attack this game. But ladies and gentlemen, we also have some good matchups in high school football tonight. And guys, a lot of big games. This is maybe the crucial point in the season. So our first game, it's going to be McEachern versus North Cobb. McEachern 3-2 on the year, but they are playing a very talented North Cobb team. 4-2. North Cobb does have the home advantage on the year. So Kevin, who are you going to take in that one?
I like North Cobb here. McEachern, very solid team, very good football program, and has a very good record against North Cobb over the past few years. But I look at a common opponent here. Both of them have played North Gwinnett. North Cobb won. McEachern lost. McEachern really did not look good in that game. So I would take North Cobb here. I think it's going to be a very close game, though.
Yeah, I'm going to go with McEachern. I think that they have a big team out there, have really been a powerhouse in high school football in the state of Georgia for a while. Like you said, hold really the overall advantage over this North Cobb team, and I think they're going to come out hungry for a victory. I think they're going to bring this one home.
Yeah, so some disagreement there. Not as expected. We'll see. Unfortunately, we are not going to be able to see, which commentator comes out more victorious. Maybe, give a phone call.
Yeah, no doubt.
Give a phone call. See which one is indeed the better, knowledgeable high school football broadcaster. But that's going to bring us to our second game. It's a big one in the region. It's Redan and Arabia Mountain. Both teams are trying to rebound. Do not discount this Redan team, as they are 1-5 on the year. Their record really not showing the quality team they are, but Arabia Mountain 2-3 on the year, trying to get back into things. They do have the home advantage tonight, so Trish, I'm going to go to you first.
Yeah, Redan has really just not played that great this season. I know Marist got a chance to face off with them, I think just a couple weeks ago, and they basically ran all over them. And I think Arabia Mountain at home, they've struggled a little bit this season, but I think they're going to start to pick it up towards the middle half of this year. So I think I'm going to take Arabia Mountain in this one.
I agree. Arabia Mountain, I think that's a no-doubter.
Yeah, so there it is. Arabia Mountain, some agreement there for both picks. So that'll be an interesting region game. Next, we're going to go to Northview versus South Forsyth, and this is definitely a harder pick as both teams are very talented. Northview coming in 5-0 on the year, but they're playing South Forsyth 4-1, and South Forsyth does have the home advantage. And as telling you, this game is both teams are undefeated in the region. So, Kevin, who are we going to go?
Well, I think home advantage is the deciding factor in this game. Both teams 4-0 in the region, both very solid football programs. But I like South Forsyth here. I think very tough rivalry. I think the home advantage just gives them a little edge here. But, again, a very close game. I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very close, possibly overtime in this one. South Forsyth has just had a very tough schedule so far this season, and they have played well all year. But I'm going to have to disagree. I'm going to go with Northview. Their quarterback, just the rock for that team. I think a Stanford commit out there, so I'm going to pick Northview.
Yeah, so there it is. That game is definitely going to be the one to watch. It did finish second in the 11 Live voting for the week. And our final game, or pardon me, not our final game, our fourth game this week is going to be Columbia 4-2 on the year versus Grady 3-2 on the year. Columbia does have the home advantage. And Tristan, we have seen both teams play St. Pius, so who are you going to take?
I'm going to go with Grady in this one. I think Kalen Newton is just going to be too much to handle for that Columbia defense. They are a good team out there at Columbia. Their quarterback, also a D1 commit. But I think Kalen Newton, along with Amir Smith, I think they're just going to be too much for the Columbia Eagles to handle.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Grady 3-2 on the year, but I think they haven't shown a lot of their potential, and I think they come out on the road, but with a good performance here to take down Columbia.
Yeah, so we'll see there. Kalen Newton, definitely one of the talented quarterbacks indeed. So those are their outside games. We're going to go ahead and go to our keys of the game this week. We've discussed both offenses and defense, and we're going to go ahead, guys, ask you to make a pick. Even though it might be apparently offenses, go ahead and give a reason for your pick. So Tristan, we're going to start. For you first, your key to the game and who you think is going to take this one home.
Key to the game going to be St. Pius's defense. Like we said, they have struggled this season against the pass. And, they are going against a familiar offense with that triple option, but Marist, just a threat. All players, like Kevin said, they have a lot of playmakers on this team. So if the St. Pius defense can step up, really keep the Marist offense off the field, let the Pius offense do what they do best, I think they have the best shot at winning this. And, of course, I got to go with St. Pius to win this one.
Of course.
Not so fast, my friend. Marist, 6-0, undefeated. And I think they are going to really bring their all tonight, play a great game. So I got to go with Marist.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, here we go.
Oh.
So there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, a little League Corso fashion for us, thanks to the Marist cheerleaders.
I think it was a little bit of home cooking there. I'm going to say that was
I think
some
we
of the
got
home field
roasted there,
advantage.
just a little bit roasted.
I had to pull a fast one on you guys.
Pull a fast one, all right. There it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a fun pregame for us here down on the field. For Kevin Jackson and Tristan Nato, I'm Joe Reichard.